Hello, in this lecture we're going to consider behavior addictions. This is about addictions without drugs. It's about disorders where there's an excessive behavior, for example, with gambling, internet use, or perhaps shopping. We often hear people say that they are addicted to eating certain kinds of food, or that they are addicted to watching certain television shows. People have written books about their various addictions. People have asked me if I would that their internet use was an addiction. Before we can responsibly say that something is addicting, there has to be a scientific study of that problem. It has to be clearly demonstrated that behavior in some people has the characteristics of a brain disorder or addiction. At this time, we can say that there is evidence for gambling as an addictive disorder. And it seems likely that in the future there will be more evidence and some addictional behaviors will be considered an addiction that may require treatment for some people. What have we learned about gambling that allows us to classify it as an addiction for some people? Well, it's been shown that gambling can be a persistent behavior that causes harmful effects in life. The harmful effects, of course, can be a loss of money such that you don't meet your obligations like paying the rent or buying food for your family. In addition to gambling away money that you need, there are some other characteristics. For example, you haven't been able to cut back or stop, and you experience stress when you try to stop. You may lie or try to conceal how much you gamble, and you may gamble after episodes of stress. As with other addictions, you may be able to walk away from gambling for some time, but then relapse. Studies have documented that there are people who behave in this way and who benefit from treatment. You may have recognized that many of the characteristics of gambling disorder are similar to those for drug abuse disorders or addictions. I refer to continued use in spite of negative consequences and relapses after or during stress. This will be among the criteria for an addiction. Can you get help of treatment for gambling? Of course you can. You only have to find a suitable treatment provider. What if you're involved with internet use or shopping or sex to the point where it's causing personal distress because of harmful consequences? Even that these behaviors may not be officially classified and addictions right now, you can still get treatment for these problems if you need it. So in that sense, it doesn't matter if the behavior is officially described as a disorder or an addiction. If you have a problem, help is available. In summary, have are three main points. Certain behaviors can be addictive in the sense that you continue to do them again and again, even though they have harmful consequences. The main behavior that this has been documented for is gambling. In the future, other behaviors are likely to be established as addictive desserts for some as well. If you're involved in a behavior that is somehow destructive to you, you can still get help from a treatment professional no matter what it is. After this lecture, I'd like you to go to the internet and look at various sites that deal with gambling as an addiction. And I'd like you to focus on two different kinds of sites. The first type I'd like you to look at are those that describes gambling as an addiction. What do they say about it? The next kind of sites that I like you to look at are the treatment sites. Identify one or two places or groups that treat gambling. Are there different kinds of gambling treatment? I think you will see that there is much available having to do with gambling as an addiction. Finally, let me briefly review the topics covered in this first week. The definition or addiction and abuse have been described. I've talked about how drug use has persisted throughout history and what they may mean. It's been noted that the brain, the organ of behavior, is central to the addiction problem. Many kinds of drugs and some behaviors can be addiction and this can be very detrimental both economically and personally. There's more to come on each of these ideas of future lecture. The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.